The Chinese government is trying with increasing ferocity to use its economic and diplomatic clout to silence critical voices abroad and to undermine global institutions that protect human rights. China has obviously long censored critics at home. The government is now trying to extend that censorship to the rest of the world. This is the most severe period of repression that we've seen in decades in China, probably going back to the Cultural Revolution or an era like that. Xinjiang is the worst, where 1 million or more Uyghur and Turkic Muslims are in detention for forced indoctrination, basically to pressure them to renounce Islam and their cultural traditions and even their language. There is this incredibly intrusive surveillance state that has been built foremost in Xinjiang, but is slowly being rolled out elsewhere, the so-called social credit system. It's hardly fair to the people of Hong Kong to pretend that Human Rights Watch had anything to do with their desire for democracy. It's also, frankly, ludicrous that my colleagues and I have the capacity to mobilize 1 million people or more on the streets of Hong Kong repeatedly over the last 6 months. Several important governments have been missing in action. Trump has lost credibility because he so often embraces friendly autocrats rather than defend the human rights standards that they flout. Unless we want to return to an era in which people are pawns to be manipulated or discarded according to the whims of their overlords, the Chinese government's attacks on the international human rights system must be resisted. Decades of progress on human rights are at stake. So is our future.
And I found that the report is full of prejudices and fabrications, and ignore the factual information provided by my government repeatedly for all these years, and picked up all these fabrications and prejudices and making groundless accusations. We totally reject the content of all these reports.